Welcome to Moonlight Story, where we listen, relax, and slowly drift off to sleep. Tonight's sleep story will take you through a slow tram ride across a rainy city late in the evening. Outside the windows, rain falls steadily over quiet streets while warm lights reflect across the wet pavement below. Inside the tram, the atmosphere is calm and sleepy as the city drifts slowly by through fogged windows and soft yellow lights. So get comfortable, settle into your blankets, and leave the rest of the day behind. Tonight, we'll follow Ruby as she rides through the rainy city, passing late-night cafés, quiet streets, glowing shop windows, and the soft rhythm of the tram moving through the rain. Settle into a comfortable position and allow yourself to slowly relax. Take a calm breath in and gently breathe out. Again, a slow breath in and an easy breath out. Rain has been falling through most of the evening. Not too heavily, just enough to leave the streets wet beneath the city lights. A light jacket is pulled on before stepping outside into the cool air. The sidewalk is damp from the rain, and small reflections from shop windows stretch across the pavement as the walk begins. A few cars move slowly through the streets nearby, their headlights passing across the wet roads. Further ahead, people walk beneath umbrellas while rain taps softly against the fabric overhead. The city feels quieter this late in the evening. Most of the small cafes and shops are beginning to close for the night, though a few still glow warmly through their windows. The walk continues slowly down the street. Now and then, water drips from the edges of buildings onto the sidewalk below. A small bakery near the corner still has fresh bread displayed in the front window. Further along, light spills out from a tiny bookstore where someone quietly rearranges books near the shelves inside. The tram tracks appear ahead beside the road, shining faintly beneath the streetlights. A small covered stop comes into view further down the sidewalk. Only a few people wait there this late at night. Some sit quietly on the bench while others stand near the edge of the platform watching the rain. After a few minutes, the soft sound of the tram begins to approach from the distance. Its lights slowly appear through the rain as it moves along the tracks toward the stop. The tram slows gently before coming to a stop beside the platform. The doors open with a soft sound. Warm air drifts out from inside. A few passengers step off quietly while others move inside slowly, folding umbrellas and brushing rainwater from their jackets. Inside, The lights are soft against the rain-covered windows. Most of the seats near the back are empty. The doors close gently behind you. And slowly, the rainy tram ride through the city begins. Ruby settles into one of the seats near the window as the tram begins moving again through the rainy streets. A few drops of water still cling to the edges of her jacket from the walk outside. She places her folded umbrella beside her seat and looks out through the rain-covered window as the city slowly passes by. Inside the tram, the lights are warm and dim compared to the wet streets outside. Most of the passengers remain quiet this late in the evening. Near the front, someone rests their head lightly against the window while listening to music through a pair of headphones. A man near the middle of the tram quietly scrolls through his phone before slipping it back into his pocket. Further ahead, an older woman holds a paper bag carefully in her lap, keeping it dry from the rain outside. The tram moves steadily along the tracks, turning gently around corners and slowing now and then as it passes through quieter streets. The soft sound of rain continues against the windows, while water slides down the glass in thin, uneven lines. Outside, rows of buildings pass slowly by. A small cafe near the corner of one street still has a few people sitting inside beneath warm yellow lights. Steam rises from cups resting near the windows while someone behind the counter wipes down the last few tables for the night. Further ahead, a flower shop is beginning to close. Buckets of flowers still rest outside beneath the awning while the owner brings a few plants back indoors away from the rain. The tram slows as it approaches another stop. The doors open. A cool breeze slips briefly into the tram before the doors close again. Only one passenger steps inside this time, carrying a damp umbrella and a small takeaway cup in one hand. The tram continues moving at the same slow pace through the city. Ruby rests back against her seat while the lights and reflections outside continue passing quietly beyond the rain-covered glass. The tram continues deeper through the city while the rain falls steadily outside. Ruby watches the streets pass slowly beyond the fogged edges of the window beside her. Every now and then, the tram moves beneath brighter streetlights, and the wet roads outside glow briefly before fading darker again. The sound inside the tram stays soft and steady. The quiet hum beneath the floor, the gentle movement whenever the tram turns along the tracks, the faint sound of rain tapping against the windows. At the next stop, a few more passengers step off, leaving the tram even quieter than before. Several seats now sit completely empty near the back. Ruby shifts slightly closer to the window and watches small shops pass one after another outside. A convenience store still glows brightly near the corner of a narrow street. Further ahead, a small restaurant is beginning to close for the night. One of the workers stacks chairs carefully onto the tables near the window while another wipes down the counter. The tram continues moving past apartment buildings lined closely beside the road. Warm lights glow through some of the windows while others remain dark. In one apartment, someone waters a few small plants near the balcony door. In another, soft light spills across shelves filled with books. The city feels calm in the rain. Not empty, just slower than usual. Ruby reaches into her bag and pulls out a small takeaway cup she picked up earlier in the evening. The warmth still lingers faintly through the sides of the cup as she holds it between her hands for a moment. Outside, rainwater gathers along the edges of the roads while cars move carefully through the streets below the tram lines. The windows fog lightly again near the corners before clearing as warm air moves through the tram. Further along the route, the streets begin to grow quieter. The bright shop windows become fewer, replaced by longer stretches of apartment buildings and quieter roads lined with trees. The tram continues forward through the rain at the same calm, steady pace while the city slowly drifts by outside. By now, the tram has become much quieter than it was earlier in the evening. Only a small number of passengers remain inside. Most of the seats near the back are empty, and the soft sounds of the tram seem easier to notice without the earlier movement of people getting on and off. Ruby keeps her gaze near the window while the city continues passing slowly outside. Rain still moves down the glass in uneven lines, catching bits of light from passing signs and street lamps. At one intersection, the tram pauses briefly while a few cars cross the wet road ahead. Their headlights stretch across the pavement in long reflections before disappearing around the corner. The tram begins moving again with the same slow, steady rhythm. Ruby takes another small sip from the warm drink in her hands before setting the cup carefully beside her. Further ahead inside the tram, a passenger quietly pulls the stop cord before gathering their things near the door. When the tram reaches the next stop, the doors slide open and cool air drifts inside again for a few moments. The passenger steps off into the rain and disappears beneath an umbrella along the sidewalk. After the doors close, the tram feels even calmer than before. Outside, the streets continue changing slowly. A laundromat glows softly near one corner, its machines still turning behind the windows. Further down the road, a small convenience store remains open while rainwater gathers beneath the lights outside. The tram passes beneath a row of trees where rainwater falls steadily from the branches onto the sidewalk below. Ruby rests back into her seat as the movement of the tram continues gently beneath her. The warmth inside feels comfortable against the cool, rainy night outside the windows. For a while, nothing changes very much. The tram continues forward. The rain keeps falling, and the city moves quietly by beyond the glass. The tram continues further through the city as the evening grows later. By now, only a few passengers remain inside. The quiet hum of the tram fills most of the space between stops, while the rain continues outside at the same steady pace. Ruby watches the streets grow calmer as the route moves away from the brighter parts of the city. Most of the small shops have already turned off their lights for the night. Only a few signs still glow along the sidewalks now and then. The tram passes through a quieter neighborhood lined with apartment buildings and trees darkened by the rain. Water drips steadily from balconies and awnings onto the pavement below. At one stop, no one gets on or off. The doors simply open for a few seconds before closing again. The tram moves forward once more, turning gently along the tracks. Inside, the windows have fogged lightly near the edges again from the warmth of the tram. Ruby traces a small, clear space near the glass with one finger before looking back outside. A small park appears briefly beside the road. The benches glisten from the rain beneath the streetlights, while puddles gather along the walking paths. Further ahead, a corner cafe is finishing its last few tasks before closing. One of the workers flips the chairs upside down onto the tables while another pulls the curtains slowly across the windows. Ruby shifts slightly in her seat and pulls her jacket a little closer around her shoulders. The warmth inside the tram and the steady movement along the tracks make the ride feel slower now than earlier in the evening. Outside, fewer cars pass along the roads. The sidewalks are nearly empty except for the occasional umbrella moving through the rain. The tram approaches another quiet stop near the end of the route, and the city continues drifting slowly by outside the rain-covered windows. The tram begins slowing as it approaches one of the final stops along the route. Outside, the rain has become lighter now, falling more softly across the quiet streets. Ruby gathers her umbrella and the nearly empty takeaway cup before standing slowly from her seat. The tram comes to a gentle stop. The doors slide open, and cool night air drifts inside once again. Ruby steps down onto the wet platform while the tram waits quietly beside the curb. For a moment, the warm lights from inside spill across the rain-dark pavement below. Then the doors close softly. The tram continues forward along the tracks, its lights slowly disappearing further down the street. The neighborhood around the stop is calm this late at night. Most of the windows in the nearby buildings are dark now, though a few still glow softly behind curtains. Ruby opens her umbrella and begins the walk home at an easy pace. Rainwater glistens along the sidewalks beneath the streetlights, while small puddles collect near the edges of the road. A faint breeze moves through the trees lining the street, carrying the cool smell of rain through the quiet neighborhood. Further ahead, a small convenience store near the corner is preparing to close for the night. Inside, one of the workers slowly restocks shelves near the back while another cleans the front counter. Ruby continues walking past rows of quiet apartment buildings and parked cars shining faintly beneath the rain. The streets feel still now after the long tram ride through the city. After a while, a familiar building comes into view further down the sidewalk. Warm light glows softly through one of the windows upstairs. Ruby closes her umbrella near the entrance and brushes a few drops of rain from her jacket sleeve before heading inside. The quiet sound of the rainy street remains outside as the door closes gently behind her. And slowly, the long tram ride through the rainy city comes to an end.